I've been trying to remember who I used to be. Not in a nostalgic way, not with rose-tinted glasses on, just honestly. And what I keep finding is, it's complicated. Because when I think back to the younger version of me, the one who was more outgoing, more up for a laugh, less burdened by the daily weight of things, I don't remember him clearly. And the snippets I do get, they're not exactly what I thought they'd be. He was there, but he wasn't fully himself, shaped by what the room needed, what would get a laugh, what would get attention, what would make the girl across the room look twice. A lot of what I did back then came from a place of wanting to be wanted, starved of a certain kind of attention. And so when any of it came my way, I was all in, regardless of whether it was good for me, regardless of who it was coming from. I just wanted to feel chosen. And I thought I was great. Even though somewhere underneath that, I also knew I wasn't. Confident on the outside, a little hollow on the inside, and calling that living. Here's the thing I've had to sit with. That version of me, the one I sometimes look back on and think was somehow freer. He wasn't lighter because he dealt with anything. He was lighter because he didn't know the weight was there. The insecurity was already running. The reaching for validation was already there. The people-pleasing, the performing, the need to be chosen, all of it already in motion. He just didn't have a name for any of it yet. And there's an innocence in that. A kind of naive freedom that comes from not yet knowing what you don't know. But innocence isn't the same as wholeness, and unawareness isn't the same as peace. He thought things were going to work out just because he was him. No real reason, just that particular flavor of young person's certainty that the universe is quietly on your side. And I miss that sometimes. Not the performing, not the chasing, just that feeling, that low hum of, it's going to be okay, just because it is. So what actually got buried? Because I've been asking myself that. If the version I remember was already performing, already insecure, already reaching for the wrong things in the wrong places, what is it that I'm actually trying to recover? And I think the answer is this: not a person, a feeling. That particular lightness that comes before you've accumulated enough loss to start bracing for more. Before the business failed, before the money ran out, before the relationships fell apart, before the homelessness and the depression and the years of just trying to get back to zero. He hadn't burned yet, and there's something tender about that now. Not envy, just a kind of gentleness toward the version of me that didn't yet know what was coming. And that's not something to go back to. You can't unknow what you know. You can't unfeel what you felt. But you can start to put some of it down. Not all at once, not dramatically, just gradually, piece by piece. The grief you've been carrying for other people, the responsibility for things that were never yours to fix, the weight of every failure you've turned into evidence that you're not enough. You can start to put that down. And what you find underneath it, that's not the old you. That's something closer to the real you, the one that was always there. Underneath the performance then. Underneath the weight now. I want to say something about this idea of recovering your old self, because I think we get it wrong. We look back at who we were, younger, lighter, less burdened, and we think that's the version we're trying to get back to. But that version was performing too, just less consciously. The self-worth uncovering isn't the one who was chasing validation across a room. It's not the one who was all in on the wrong relationships because any attention felt better than none. It's not the one who laughed a little too loudly because silence felt too close to being seen. It's the one underneath all of that, the tender one, the one who hadn't yet learned to protect himself by becoming whatever the room needed. That version didn't get buried by life getting hard. He got buried long before that. The first time you learned that performing was safer than being real. The first time you shaped yourself to fit what someone else needed. The first time you chose to be chosen over choosing yourself. And self-care, the real kind, not the industry version, is just the slow, patient work of going back for them. Not to return to who you were, but to finally meet who you actually are, underneath everything that got piled on top, then and now. If something in this landed, if you caught a glimpse of a version of yourself that got buried somewhere along the way, drop it in the comments. You don't have to explain it, just say something. Next episode, we're going to talk about what it costs to be everyone's safe place except your own. The emotional receipt nobody talks about. The price of always being the one who holds it together. This is AfroSage.